Right, so today I want to talk about a story that came out a couple days ago, maybe 3 days ago, I forget exactly, but it was the mini AOC, who was a little girl that did parody videos of AOC. And they're not going to do these videos anymore because of death threats, harassment, even doxing, which if you don't know what that is, that's basically publishing, personal addresses, where you work, stuff like that on the internet. And a lot of times telling your supporters to go harass or physically hurt whoever it is that you're doing. So this is just a story from Fox. Yeah, they basically go over that she's not going to be doing the videos anymore. But what I wanted to talk about in the video is why the left has success nowadays and is so successful. And they're not necessarily successful at winning elections, but I think in the culture war, the left is definitely the most successful. And just based off the fact that they basically have the public schools, they have the colleges, they have a lot of these big companies, with the HR departments and all that stuff. They have won, and they have won by quite a bit, I would say. Um, and the reason why the left is so successful in this area is they're willing to go to whatever means is necessary to get their way. And a lot of times that means doing stuff like this, which is threatening violence, or in the case of Antifa and a lot of these other leftist groups, using violence. And a lot of people point out, oh, well, the right has done this, the right has done that. Yes, this stuff exists on the right, but the one thing that I would point out is that it's not debatable that it's much less often, and it's a lot more fringe, crazy wackos when you have people. I mean, how many prominent leftist politicians, media outlets have condemned Antifa? Like, most of them haven't. I know CNN had a couple of their anchors recently finally condemn CNN, but like I haven't seen any of the Voxes, the Salons, like some of those. I mean, those outlets are more popular than CNNs of the world. So, plus a lot of these politicians, like none of the Democrats running for the presidential race, or the I guess the Democratic nominee, then the presidential race, but none of them tweeted or put out a video or anything condemning the recent Antifa attack on Andy Ngo, who is gay and Asian. Obviously, in the leftist world, you're a double minority, which is like you're all everything. But again, none of them put out a video, and in reality, it's only bad if you're on the left. Like if you're someone on the right going after a minority, then you're bigoted, then you're racist, then you're everything under the sun. But if the minority is on the right, well then it's different. But getting back into the main thing I wanted to talk about, like I said, the left is successful because they're willing to go to whatever means necessary. You have Carlos Maza from Vox, who was popular and now even more popular on the left, given the recent stuff that's came out or happened with YouTube and Steven Crowder and stuff, in that he tweeted, and strangely enough, Twitter didn't ban him or suspend him or anything, but he said that it's not the exact quote, so don't quote me on it, but something along the lines of harass, throw milkshakes on, yeah, every time they go out in public. He said something along the lines of, don't let them go out in public without harassing them, throwing milkshakes on them, stuff like that. And that's what the left, that's how they operate. And it's becoming a bigger problem because the left isn't the moderate Democrats of 20 or 30 years ago. They're very different. They're honestly, the average Democrat, if they were running 20, 30 years ago, they would be laughed out of the room because they're so far left and so out there. The average Republican now, they would be. I mean, Trump is more to the left on almost every social issue than any Republican that's ran in the last 20 or 30 years. And which is what the Democrats constantly used to complain about Republicans on, is that they're too far to the right on social issues. Like, if Trump would have ran 20 or 30 years ago, he'd be a moderate. He'd be center right, even center left. To be honest, I think you could make the argument that he'd be considered center left back in the day. Given that the fact that he was more of a business Democrat for most of his life, but that's kind of a different tangent. Um, but this is something that really, really needs to be recognized: is that all things being equal, the right should win elections easily because, from a moral and ethical perspective, they're not perfect, but they're a lot better than, you know, wanting to have a very small amount of taxes is a lot more better and ethical than wanting to tax the shit out of everyone, middle class and above. So the left is they're currently kind of eating themselves, given that they're going so far off the deep end, but they still have a lot of appeal, and like I said, they're willing to do whatever it takes. You don't really see anyone on the left being doxxed. Like there's the odd case that I've heard of, but you have people all over, everywhere that are doxing people on the right. Tucker Carlson, Proud Boys, all these kind of stuff. Um, the other thing too to mention is that things are gonna get worse before they get better, unless people start talking about this stuff more. Like I say in a lot of these videos, stuff needs to be talked about more. People need to be honest about this. I think a lot of people, they're on the right no matter what, they're on the left no matter what. Like it doesn't matter what happens. They'll defend the right wing position or the left wing position, or they're like, yeah, I'm in the middle and I'm always going to be in the middle no matter what, and I'm never going to go out on a limb and say that, yeah, this side's probably right more often than this side. And like I said, 20 or 30 years ago, that was a fair position to hold, but now it's insane because the left has gone so far off the deep end that if that's your position, then you're basically a moderate Democrat, because the left has gone way to the left. The right is still pretty much where they were, which means if you've stayed in this position that they're both roughly as far off the deep end to both sides, then you're not recognizing the truth. So that's about it as far as this video goes. Like I said, the reason why the left is so successful in the culture war is they're willing to do whatever it takes to get their way. Violence, the threat of violence, all that stuff. So, yeah, like I said, gonna get worse before it gets better. So, make sure you hit that like and subscribe, and stay tuned for more.